Okay. Hello. I'm going to just give it a few minutes to see if anybody comes on to the chat. And I want to talk today, about the energy, because it's been captivating for sure. Hi, hello. I don't know about you. I'm just going to give my own personal experience. Good morning, hello. And what I've gotten out of pretty much a day in complete and utter solitude yesterday, which I think I needed. My energy just completely depleted to an all-time low, like just complete exhaustion. And it was really hard for me to operate or navigate anything. And so I did a few things around the house, but really kind of sat and asked questions and gained higher perspectives on what's going on energetically at this moment. Because on top of having all of that, I know last night I was again awoken almost every hour. I know that the sun started to really gear up, meaning we are having a very large geomagnetic storm going on right now. So my phone just kept, going off seemed like every 15 minutes or so. But I'd wake up and just complete and utter like hot flashes and like feeling all of these energies swirling around me. And I think that's one of the reasons energetically for those of us who are super sensitive to the energy of the collective, the energy of others, of other people, because we all generate our own energy, but then we share the collective energy. And then just the planetary tone, so to speak, has been one of great conflict for many, but also one of upliftment for many of us as well. So as we're going through this ascension process, the sun is very much a part of this in helping us shed old layers of ourselves, helping us to, we are revisiting still I noticed some patterns of mine creep up, because when the energy doesn't feel it's less than enjoyable and you're not even sure why. Like, it's not emotion that's driving, but it's just this thick, heavy, for me it was just like a thick, heavy layer of fog that was just really hard to navigate. And I'm still kind of feeling groggy and drowsy from it all, but receiving a lot of messages through that. And then getting reports and having my own experiences and witnesses of others that had been on the same timeline as me briefly, or suddenly we're repelling each other energetically. You do understand and agree. Thank you. So I'm trying to it's like when we're traversing a certain aspect of life or certain part of life, we are meant to really be connected to other people that are here to karmically teach us lessons about ourselves. But then when the energetics of the planet and our bodies are really trying to absorb all of this, we are ascending to a whole new frequency again. So it's causing a lot of emotional eruptions within some. Others are going through, and I do have my notes on Kundalini awakening, the body, the energy in the body awakening, and I'll go over some of that too with some of you in case this is something that you're experiencing, because I became very fascinated with that back in 2018 when this was happening to me, or when I was finally aware that that was what was happening to me. But anyway, back on this, so when we elevate in our frequency, and those of us who have very consciously are aware of the shifts and the changes, sorry, my hair is the shifts and the changes energetically on the planet and within ourselves, we are still consciously maintaining our path, like in the light, being present, and following our guidance, our internal guidance, and shedding what needs to shed and seeing what needs to see, and having that courage to go deep into the inner child wounds, the mother father wounds, everything that is being reflected and projected towards us right now, not taking it personally, but taking it as, okay, this is the universe showing me something big, because you can feel it in your body. Something big is being shown to me, and on the outside it may feel like people are coming at us, which they are. Some are. Others are just sort of spinning out in their own. They don't want to go down into the wounded child. They don't want to go down into the depths of their inner psyche, because their ego fights it off all the time, and that turns into a projection. It's all your fault. You're making me feel this way. Those kinds of things. Whoops. Hi, from Iran. Hello. I've had so much pain in my body for the past 4 days, stomach, hips, lower back, stopping me from doing my chores. It's easing off now. Yes. Good. I know. I felt the same way. I was really proud of myself all last week. I like jumped into a new exercise like flow, and I was feeling good about myself. And then by Friday night, I got hit. I got hit with a challenge to face and go deep in within to see. And I had to really let go, which was easier this time. But still, then the after effects of all of those shocking, and it can just be something that someone says. Words are very powerful. But after going through that, the body's like starts to, it's still processing all of that energy, and it can be quite exhausting if we don't settle into the energy, like realize, okay, now I mentally and emotionally did this healing. Now my body is still needing to release and let go of some of these energies. So the body takes a little bit longer to catch up. Know that. That's definitely something I've learned firsthand and understood from my journey. And, probably just like you guys, my body is very sensitive to energy, sensitive to food, sensitive to everything in my environment. And I do have certain ways of navigating around that so I don't get zapped. But when I'm meant to get zapped, I'm meant to get zapped too. Yes, gently. Got to remind yourself to be gentle and slow. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And this is definitely a time where embrace whenever it is time to kind of go into hermit and have that solitude, because the body is then needing more downtime, or needing to sort of do its thing. The less we get in the way, the better. But the other thing about those who are having a difficult time going into their own shadows, going into their own pain, going into their own wounds, and instead are staying in old habits and projecting their pain out towards those of us who are connecting to the light. Here we go, another solar flare, M.1. My phone's really sensitive too. I hope I didn't lose you guys. Let me know that you're still there. Another solar flare just came in. So we're also sensitive to these, and they can do one of two things. A lot of times I get a big upliftment and a lot of extra energy during solar storms, but other times, I guess, when it's time to really heal old wounds. Oh, still here. Okay, good. Um, that's when we start to feel that fatigue and that tiredness, and that is the body. The body is smart, talking to us, giving us our needs, what we need at any present now moment. So many of us have been on this journey, this back and forth, the roller coaster ride, and all of that for quite some time, and are really um, good at navigating the highs and the lows and all of that. And we're getting better and better and better. However, there are other people that have been on our timeline, whether they're physically with us or we're just communicating through, the phone or whatever. We've been kind of on the same wavelength. And then suddenly, bam, Scorpio. Hi, Paula. Scorpio energy and other energies, and Saturn going direct, and that moon and the eclipse and all of that really took humanity down into the dungeon again to really work through some childhood stuff. And many egos are very resistant to that still. And like I said, I caught myself yesterday, just small little things that I do to distract myself from having to feel crappy feelings. But I also know that it's not going to go away. It's going to get harder. It's going to get worse until I sit with this emotion and really find out, why is this coming up for me? This is showing itself to me for a purpose of healing and growing. Yeah, still feeling others' pain. I'm feeling exactly what you're experiencing. Yeah, so there's I've learned from experience also, when we're pulled into, and it's hard as empaths not to get pulled into somebody else's pain, somebody else's story. And this is how it always gets shown to me when somebody says, but you need to hear my story. I understand that you've got a story that you need to hand over or be witness to. And the thing is that I have when they're not picking up what we're putting down, saying, yes, I have heard your story, I see your story, I see your pain, your story wants to end. It's asking you to go back and retrieve some inner child parts and some soul fragmented parts of your soul. I can't do that for you. This is something you've got to do. And people don't want to hear that. Their egos just want to project back out to us. And I mean, you don't even have to say it that way, but it's just like, yeah, I see you. I see you. I see where you're at. And there is not much I can do for you at this point. So that timeline splits. Suddenly, where two or more once had the same perception and were on the same wavelength energetically, when one refuses to elevate, which requires us to go deep inside to lighten the load so we can elevate in frequency and in perception, we've got to first do those deep dives before we elevate. I mean, we all know that. All of us that have been on this journey for long enough know. And trust yourself too. We know that when we're getting called into the depths of ourselves, that's a good thing. That's like, oh, I'm about to rise up even more. Good. Yeah, it sucks. I got to go back into some pain. I got to go back into some wounding. But the more we're like almost excited to see and learn and know ourselves, trust ourselves, the easier and faster it goes too. It really does. It's almost like we can change the trajectory of, oh, I got to go back into my pain, to, oh, I'm going back into some hidden spots, some hidden areas that I forgot about or didn't quite heal through. And that's really what other people's projected pain onto us has been showing us lately. So it's always a win-win. We're always going to, it's not like any of us are better or worse than others. It's just how we're navigating these waters. These currents are really, really strong. And when the sun chimes in and starts adding to the frequencies of the planets and the moon and people And it's like, whoo, those waves are big. And so I'm feeling these big, big waves, and it is pulling other people way offshore. They're going way offshore into their own current. Let them. That is part of the art of letting go. Letting go, because there isn't anything. If we go and try to pull them into the stream of consciousness or the current that we're in, we're going to get sucked into where they're going all the time. I've learned this the hard way each and every time. I'm like, I get it. I understand. And it is hard. It is hard. You watch people suffering, you watch people in pain. It is not an easy thing to do. And the only thing that we can do is still hold love and compassion and care for them in our hearts. That's it. I'll listen to your story, but what are you going to do about it? Exactly. And then to understand that we're meant to like know the story, but then we're meant to change the story. You want to carry your whole life story with you? That's carrying weight. That's carrying dead weight. This story needs to be changed. It needs to be dropped. Drop the story. You know what I mean? Like, hello, Martin. Hello. Looking forward. Yeah. So when you're faced with either yourself or someone else who just really wants you to hear their story, know that they are trying to unload, and that's a way of their ego trying to filter through. But when you've already heard the story over and over again, it is time to be straightforward. Like, listen, I see your story. I've heard your story. I know your story. Now it is time for you. Exactly like you said, Paula. What are you going to do about it? You've got to see your own story and go, you got to take it inward. We all have to, it's the same thing for everyone. There's no free ride here. It is not easy, but it is quite rewarding when we clear some baggage, when we really lighten our load ourselves. But that's where I see it. I feel it. I see it. I've experienced it firsthand. And for me, I always hold these, I'm learning about my boundaries, right? And I hold these loose boundaries because I still like, I get faced with people who give me, the story of having suicidal ideations, which is very fearful for me. That's part of my life path. I grew up with that. My father even did that. So I see what the universe is showing me. It's not an easy, yeah, now it's an experience. That's right. It's not an easy thing to just turn a blind eye to. But I have also learned that many of us going through the awakening get to a point where we have those ideations, which is different. It's just like, what's the point of being here? It is part of the unlayering and stuff, but it's not really meant. Not many people that actually talk about it over and over and over again do it. Not saying that they don't, but from my experience, those that have actually taken their lives were always a big shock. Like, I didn't see that coming. They weren't talking about it. They were not sharing this. So when you're going through the awakening, you're just like, everything hurt. Like, you're very vocal. You are very vocal about it. Find a purpose. Life is short. Absolutely. And we're getting to really see how short life can be. None of us know. None of us know. And that's what actually keeps me going most of the time, is none of us know how much time we have. Tomorrow does not exist. It is right now. And that can be very empowering, you know? Hello. It can be very empowering to the point of like, yeah, life is short. I don't know what tomorrow brings, if there even is a tomorrow. So live for right now. And sometimes those right nows do require us to do some deep dives and letting go of things, and letting go of not just things, patterns, people. And to let go of somebody on this journey is to let go of what we were holding on to, and let them go into the current, the stream that life is pulling them. We can't help them. We can't save them. They have got to go through those motions themselves. And if it's meant to be, we I have been reunited with people after years of being separate, letting them go on their journey. Like, we all learn these things our own unique way, letting them go on their journey. I go on my journey. And when we meet back up again, it's like, hey, I remember you. You just know all that stuff. So I'm going to pull some cards in honor of this morning. Well, where it's morning where I live, and we just had the time, the clocks change. So we turn the clocks back an hour, which always disorients me as well here where we live. It's been a very disorienting weekend. It felt like, really, I felt the sensitivity of getting pulled into the collective abyss of energy. So it definitely, I took what I needed out of it, but I also got to see a lot deeper as to what is going on with the stream of consciousness that we are all tapping into. And it is just, oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. Six of Inspiration. It's very important to see afternoon here in the UK, 3:03. Yeah, it's 10:03 here in the morning. Would be 11:03, honestly, on my body clock. It's 11:03. The Six of Inspiration. This is a beautiful reminder to always put yourself first. When your energy, meaning your thoughts, your emotions, your physical energy, when your energy gets pulled into someone else's stream of experience, of pain, of consciousness, of whatever, we lose sight of our present moment. We lose sight of our what we're meant to be experiencing and learning. And even just getting pulled into somebody else's energy is a lesson in itself, because when you come back to your energy and your consciousness, you're like, whoa, where did I go? What was that all about? It's really important to be the star of your own show. We create our experiences, right? So why would we be creating our experiences not being the key player, you know? I'm not really sure. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna put timeout. I'm not sure. Okay. I'm having another experience where I'm really being asked to trust my discernment, my intuition. And this day and age, with so many people actually coming out of the woodwork and waking up, it's a little more difficult, because my heart goes out to everybody and I want to believe that everybody has good intentions, but to really sit and feel what energy you're picking up through someone else's words or through their actions or through just the vibe and the aura that you are experiencing, knowing when to put that boundary up sooner than later, but thinking I can handle it, but draining. Yes. And I've gone through that this week, and I would put up a boundary, but they were loose boundaries. It was like, I'm going to put up, I'm not going to take nonsense, but I will stay open in case you like wake up to your own nonsense. And like that would happen. There's like a wash cycle. And I've gone through this with many people, and they reappear and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I understand. I'm sorry for," but they're not really specifically sorry for the things that really deeply triggered you, which is a good indicator that, I don't know. This is still a test. It's so hard, I just want to be open and let people flow in and out of my life. And I think eventually I'll be able to do that with um uh not inviting too much like to take over me or my life. There's a fine line there, and I'm still playing with those boundaries myself, thinking I can handle it. But once you start to feel drained, that's when it's like, no, 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 no. You can sense it. You can feel it when your energy is getting siphoned. And there's a lot of energy vampires, and I hate that is such a term. It is what it is. They are people that are struggling to do their own healing. And so, just like the moth to the flame, it's that we're holding a certain amount of frequency or light, and energetically, they don't mentally or logically understand, but they're like, you have something that I need. They don't exactly know what that is, but their soul is like, yes, you do. You have something that I need, and I want it now. Me too. Many people are not genuine or authentic. Because they're afraid of their own authenticity. They have not really truly worked on themselves yet. And that's the thing about the dimensions then too. To go into dimensions, of course, Earth we're living in a third dimensional experience, matter and time and all of that. Yet when we awaken in consciousness, we do experience the fourth and the fifth and even higher dimensions. The fourth dimension is a weird place to be. It is a place where time kind of either stands still or it speeds by. There is no such thing as time. And it is very very dreamlike, very weird. It can be kind of mystical, but it can also be shadowy, and we can get stuck in that dimension if we have certain belief systems that are keeping us in a certain mentality, and start to think that like anything that causes us pain or harm is demonic and it's out to get me, when really it's universe like, no, let's raise you up into the next dimension so you don't have to experience this very strange Alice in Wonderland experience where things are confusing but they're not. We can't really maintain life here on Earth in just the fourth dimension. People do, but they're sort of out there in left field most of the time. If you can kind of pick up what I'm putting down there, no judgment, just I know from experience. I spent in hindsight, I'm like, damn, I was in the fourth dimension that entire year. No wonder nobody understood me. I hear you, balancing that spiritual, energetic, physical pull, but empathic. That card shows exactly what we should do, but when. Yeah. It's always important to keep ourselves in mind first and foremost. Our experiences here are very frames. Like if you think of how you put movie slides together, a frame in time is the present time, is the present moment, and all of those frames get put together. Well, we can create those frames, but we've got to get into the way of not being too far ahead or getting pulled back too far. Really, we should only be going backwards when we are reflecting and healing aspects of ourselves. Otherwise, and if we think too far ahead, we're going to be really blindsided by what the universe is bringing to us, because we really don't know. It's good to have dreams and aspirations and all of that and goals, yes. But there are forces that are so much more powerful than we are. If we work with them, if we work with the God source, the source of all, That's a nice ride. That's a ride of no expectations, though, also. It's a ride of trust. It is like it's a ride of discernment for sure. But it is, for all intents and purposes, it is our show. It is our ride. What do you want to create and experience on your ride? On your movie, in your show? My mom calls it the dream. She's she studies the Course in Miracles, which in my opinion is amazing, yet it seems like a really hard way to get to the same understanding that I'm getting to. And she agrees, but that's her journey. That's her understanding. That's the way that she understands it. And here we have the Hermit. So here we are. It's so important to honor the times that we are meant to really sit in alone. We're not alone. Sit and commune with the divine. Sit and communicate with our higher self. Ask questions. I guarantee you, the more you sit with your higher self and you ask questions, those answers will come to you. We have the answers inside of us. They're in our cellular memory. They come to our conscious awareness when we are present. And that is an art form, to be present as often as possible. It is definitely, it takes practice in this world full of distractions, full of energies that are designed to pull us out of our presence in every given moment. Electronics, I mean, anything, everything going on outside of us can distract us and pull us here and there, and our desires and our dreams and people, and it's a lot. So that is why the number one reason why meditation and just being present is the number one piece of advice on the spiritual journey. But it does not have to be like a specific, shamanic practice. Yes, some people enjoy rituals and whatnot, but it does not have to be that. It can really just be you just sitting on the edge of your bed or sitting on your, outside, just sitting, being very, very aware of your surroundings, being very, very aware of everything that's around you, being grateful. Gratitude is such a big thing that we humans, we can find gratitude, but at the same time, we can also find what's wrong, what's missing, what's, what's not right. And that's, our focus is getting shifted there. It's all about where your focus and your attention and your energy is flowing, which is why being present is so important. 7 of inspiration. Yeah, priorities should be focusing on that which is positive, on that which we had already experienced, that is of love, of light, of positivity, and co-creating or generating more of that, because we do have that power. We have that power of pushing past all of the obstacles, all of the density, all of the distractions, and really holding the light. But it does, it's really important to put in a practice whenever you start to feel off, to just get yourself present. Snap your fingers, whatever, do some tapping. Present, present, present. Like our mind can be like, I'm present, I'm here. No, are you really here right now? Present with whatever you're experiencing. You'll snap out of some really interesting, it's interesting how easily hypnotized we can get into anything. Just think of like a movie, right? When you sit down and you watch like a really captivating movie that pulls you in, you're in it. You're having that experience. Your emotions are in it. Sometimes our physical bodies get into it, depending on what kind of movie we're watching. And you're not anywhere else but in that movie. Life is the same way. The more we put this practice in, back to breath. Yes, thank you. Breath work, or just focusing on the breath can bring you into presence. Focusing on the in and out of the air going into your body. It brings us not just into it brings us back to our personal power, being present. We get out of the mental gymnastics that we get sucked into, even when we're connected. I put above me because this is how I see energy. It's a stream of energy. We read each other all the time, even when we're not in the same room or the same. You can be completely hermit on a desert island somewhere else, and you're going to be picking up collective energy of other people's thoughts, feelings, emotions, whatever they're going through. The more and more we are that sensitive, we are picking those things up. So when we practice being present, when we practice being at one with our journey and with our higher self, with creator, with source, that's where the magic happens. It really is. We're the lead characters in our own story. Who needs movies? Exactly. Telepathic. Yes, we are extremely telepathic. And that is picking up even more and more and more. I talked about it in a previous video, how I always knew that I could communicate with animals, but that telepathic communication that I'm having with animals has really got beefed up this past week. And I was like, whoa. There's a lot there. So our gifts, our sensitivities are picking up as well. High Priestess. Things that have laid dormant within us are picking up more and more and more and more. So that's another reason why it's important to find a way to stay present and practice stillness, practice focusing on the breath, because otherwise you can get pulled into the mind, and it can really bring out a lot of anxiety and other if we try to analyze, sometimes we can go into analysis paralysis when we try to analyze too much of what's going on with us, or if we start to Google symptoms. That's like the worst thing to do to yourself. Speaking of which, so I was going through some old stuff in my office. Every now and then I get this urge to like clean up clutter, and this is a good time to do that. And I came across this printout that I don't even know why I printed it out, but it was such a long time ago, so my printer doesn't even work anymore. On when Kundalini awakens. And I want to just read to you guys really quickly just some of the symptoms for any of you who aren't fully. And this was a good reminder to me too, because when I first was brought to this information, I was going through a very strong Kundalini awakening, and having had medical procedures and other things on my spine. My brain wanted me to go into, there's, all this weird electrical shit going on in your spinal cord, which really was happening. But then at the same time, I was telepathically picking up on people. Like all my other spidey senses were turning on too. So I'm like, there's something else happening here. There's something else happening here. So it really is, it is an awakening, and it manifests different in everyone. And then this says these symptoms may point to other conditions. So the combination of symptoms from psychological, physical, spiritual, and energetic is an undeniable Kundalini landmark. If you're experiencing extreme or intense symptoms, remember that this process is fluid and that what you are feeling will constantly shift and eventually pass. And it truly does. So on the spiritual side, which we go through these waves often, up and down, blissful experiences of oneness and seeing the divine in everything can be a glimpse or can last for months. This bliss can be accompanied by a sense of dissociation from the physical body. The world can seem highly lucid, vivid, and alive. Out of body experiences, temporary psychic experiences, for example, seeing light forms or hearing guidance or music seemingly out of nowhere. Now, I still get the music a lot, but there's a lot of my guides will talk to me through songs and music. So if I wake up with a certain song in my head, sometimes I'll Google all of the lyrics and I'm like, oh, okay. Developing lasting extrasensory perceptions, clairsentience, which is the feeling or touching that you'll feel energies. That's a fun one. Clairaudience, clear hearing and listening. The clairolfactus, smelling. We'll start to smell smells that aren't really around. Claircognizance is the clear knowing, just that inner knowing. I know. I don't know how I know, I just know. Spontaneous past life regression. So I remember, and I get these from time to time, scenes from Atlantis will start to play out. I even have a friend who like collects mermaids and stuff. It's like, you can't make it up how the storyline starts to play out in your day-to-day life. Grandiose feelings of being the chosen one or called to heal and save the world. Constant insights and downloads. Feeling that there is no veil between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. And let me just speak to this for a moment, because when we talk about this veil, it really is a barrier between ourselves and the infinite and all of the spirits and all of the entities that live amongst us that we are swimming and feeling and seeing through. It is a part of the brain. It really is not like a physical veil. There's a part of the brain that starts to like in certain energies. This month of Scorpio season specifically, our wiring of our brain kind of shifts to a certain, it's like taking LSD or MSD or any of those drugs where suddenly you can clearly sense and see and feel and taste and touch things that you didn't before. That is the saying that the veil is thin. It really does start in the brain, because that's the computer of our sensory bodies, what we see, what we hear, what all of our senses are run by this computer operating system up here that's been programmed, right? So let's get to the energetic. A sense of something moving inside of you, like an electric current or a bloodstream you can feel. At times, it can feel like overflowing water, fire, or wind. These are the energetic sensations. Shaking of the entire body or involuntary jerking of different parts of your body, known as kriyas. Kriyas can also manifest as the body going into spontaneous yoga poses, even if you never practiced yoga before. I've experienced that. And it's just, you get like this ache and you're just like, oh, Yeah. Lack of energetic boundaries, feeling that someone else's energy can go through you, or feeling overly empathic. Heat at the bottom of the spine, a sense of inner burning, can be felt in other parts of your body too. Changes in your breathing, intense energy surges throughout the body, and the spine, or milder sensations of energy working in some area of your body, such as feeling a tingling sensation at the top of your head or tingling in your brain. Energetic intolerance, inability to tolerate certain people. Your energy body rejects them. Feeling very uncomfortable or ill near a person without a logical reason. I get that a lot too. And it's all suddenly you're just like, oh, I don't feel so good. And you're not really sure why, but you have an idea it has to do with the presence of somebody else in your midst. um, Feeling fragmented or as if you have no center. And then the psychological anxiety, fear, and terror. Some people may experience panic attacks. Experiencing constant shifts in mood, regardless of external triggers. Bliss and childlike joy. Long periods of heart openings and increased love and compassion for all of life. Overwhelm. A feeling of extreme belonging or a feeling of extreme alienation. Collective pain. Being empathic to the point of feeling like you connect and feel the pain of the entire world. Feeling raw, feeling like a child emotionally. This occurs through spontaneous regressions into old emotional pain and the age when it was caused, with little ability to separate into your adult self. So you can already see how these processes organically, naturally happen for us as we go through these shifts in energy, you know? Yeah. Thank you, Patsy. Uh, 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 uh. Oh my. Okay. There we go. I've felt many of these. Where was I? Yeah, I feel like we've all felt all of these off and on. And when the frequencies constantly are rising like they are now, especially with the solar activity, our sensitivities, our body, we go through these again and again. Doesn't work in a chat comment. I know. Oh, okay. I don't know how, what did I, how do I, this is interesting. Okay. All right. Feeling raw, that's where we were at. And this is how we like organically and naturally are really diving into the inner child and coming back out. Sometimes we can't help but do that. And so the less we resist it, the more we kind of go with the flow, knowing that life, that nature, that the cosmos is working with us to ascend, to elevate. So feeling raw, feeling like a child emotionally, this occurs through spontaneous regressions into old emotional pain and the age when it was caused, with little ability to separate into your adult self. Depression or grief, periods of grief are normal while letting go of former paradigms. Feeling empty, nihilistic even, that nothing has meaning. This is common after periods of extreme bliss and finding meaning in everything, or after letting go of core beliefs. And that is like when we're in that high and everything, I get it, you know, we're just like, everything's beautiful and amazing and I get it. And then we get dropped down really far down. Then it's like, you miss that high. And it's like, we have to see that we are riding this crazy energetic roller coaster, which I think a lot of us do, but that's where many people that I've experienced this week are at, where they're not able to rise up out of their pain. They're actually fighting going deeper into their pain, and instead they want to project that pain out onto me or onto any of us that are actually just bearing witness to this whole collective process of stripping away the old. Extreme sensitivity to content, having no ability to tolerate any form of violence, sarcasm, news, nor graphic sex scenes on TV or the internet, in books, or in conversations around you. That just reminded me of, yeah, that's also a form of self-love. If any of you have that part of your, what you need to strip away, people-pleasing parts, if you've had people that you actually do like, but suddenly their mouth just becomes like vile, that's a test on you. And it's always important to be like, hey, you know what? I don't appreciate that kind of, like, I don't want to engage in that. I don't need to hear these things enough, you know? That's why I had to disconnect. It drained me. That's good. That's a self-loving thing to do, for sure. Dreams of snakes. The snake symbolizes transformation, transmutation, and death and rebirth. The snake is a known ancient symbol for the Kundalini and vivid dreams and lucid dreams. Now, when I was going through my Kundalini awakening initially, when I was just learning about this, honestly, every day I was outside, I would come across a snake. And then my mom would send me pictures of like the snakes that she pulled out of her garden. It was just like they were everywhere. Shedding a skin. Yep. So then the physical. Overstimulation, a lack of ability to tolerate light, sound, strong smells, and large crowds. A feeling that everyday life and stimuli are too overwhelming and almost offensive to your nervous system. Unprovoked sexual stimulation and spontaneous orgasms. Digestive issues, a need to constantly change diet, lack of appetite or too much appetite, and strange cravings, food allergies or intolerances, nausea, and IBS. Temporary changes in eyesight and hearing. Weight fluctuations, losing or gaining weight without changes to diet. The body's metabolism may be effective for a while and slow down. And it's really difficult for women my age to gauge this, because also like my age group, we're going through menopause. So our bodies are constantly changing anyway, and there's no change to the diet. But it's like, is this what we're taught as menopause, or is this something else energetic? You know what I mean? Lost a lot of weight back in my younger year, back to my younger weight. Yeah, I've done the opposite, but in a good way. Like years ago, I did the opposite, and I became way too thin, and it was like I couldn't eat enough either. It was strange. Insomnia, or the opposite, extreme tiredness or fatigue and a need to sleep all the time. Feeling cold or hot. Your body's temperature may be changing as well. You may be feeling overly heated or colder than your usual body temperature. Can't put it back on either. It's so interesting how the body, it just keeps changing like that. And I went through years like that. And then just this year, I don't fit into any of my clothes anymore. And I'm going the opposite way. I had to deal with that. I'm like, oh man, this sucks. Pressure or pain in random places or the chakra centers. The pain can be there for a day or longer. So you may feel pain at the top of your head or the base of your skull. You may feel pressure in your third eye. You may feel a sore throat or pain or pressure in your throat. The heart chakra, I was feeling the heart chakra yesterday, and then we have other chakras too, but I was feeling a lot of not palpitations, but a heaviness, like almost like somebody had placed a big giant weight on my heart. And that YouTube link I tried sharing, type in Jim Carrey sexual alchemy and true birth of Christ within you, sacred secretion, Santos Bonacci. All right, cool. Thanks, Martin, for sharing. I don't know if I even saw a link that you tried to share. But we had some other people trying to get in here I had to deal with. Yeah, so random places of pain in the body, especially along the chakra centers, but it can be others. I know that I'll get these random pains in my shoulders to the point where I can barely lift my arm up for no reason at all. I know it's also tied to my son. My son has had shoulder surgery, and even his father has had shoulder surgery. I've had no problems with my shoulders, but every now and then I'll wake up and my shoulders will be killing me for no reason at all. It's very strange. Sharing title is safer than sharing link. Oh, okay. Yes, yeah, I don't know about these things, you guys. I need to upgrade my learning of YouTube etiquette or how things go. So, all right, headaches. Headaches are a big one. Skin conditions, rashes, and itching or needles all over. I've been getting these weird rashes around my lips, the skin condition that is so new. I've never had it before. I've been feeling quite uncomfortable in my own skin of late. My soul is going, wow, get me out of this meat suit. Yes, so much. Yes, so much for me. My heart felt as though I couldn't breathe last night. Shoulder pain, heart throbbing. Yeah, so interesting. And I did not have, got really cloudy and cold here. And I tried to go outside and I was just like, I was sensitive to the cold. So I just like wanted to stay in the comfort of my own home, which I did, and found things that would comfort me. And then when I finally like laid back down, that's when I felt this weight. It wasn't pain, like I could breathe okay, but it was like this heaviness in my heart, and I knew it wasn't mine. So that's interesting. The skin rashes and itching or needles all over. It is not uncommon to experience autoimmune conditions, thyroid issues, and fibromyalgia during Kundalini due to adrenal stress. And this is important to understand. When I learned about the adrenal fatigue and adrenal stress during the process of the body's awakening to new frequencies, I realized that I was in adrenal fatigue. And there are a lot of, if any of you have like a natural foods or a natural, what's it called, naturopath. We have a place here that is a pharmacy, but it's all natural ingredients, not pharmaceuticals. And they have all these different tinctures that were really good for adrenal fatigue, and it helped me a lot. Ashwagandha being one of the big ones for just even handling the stress, which I notice now is pretty mainstream. You can even go to Target and see ashwagandha, like it's everywhere. Where back then I'm like, my mom she's kind of a wizard when it comes to herbs and plants and things like that. So she gave me all these recommendations. Kundalini can manifest as different strange symptoms in the body that are undiagnosable by doctors and are usually temporary. For example, heart palpitations, numbness of the limbs, and much more. So if a doctor or therapist is unable to diagnose your Kundalini awakening, which most likely they are, but you are educated about it, you will know what you're experiencing is very real and 100% valid. If your Kundalini is feeling overwhelming or extremely demanding, and it says here are some tools, but then I didn't print that part out, so. Yeah, I like that. A pharmacy. So let me just hold 1 second. I will tell you. I'll give my own advice here. Okay, so Good morning, Steph. So, in no way, I have to say a disclaimer, I am not a doctor or a naturopath or anything like that. This advice is just given by what worked for me, and that is all. So we spoke about ashwagandha, definitely a good one. That's helpful. Holy basil is another one that is extremely helpful in holy basil will give a calming effect, but it also promotes mental clarity. So it really helps with the anxiety. I have a tea also that works really well. Solomon seal. For whatever reason, the Solomon seal helped. These were combinations when I found I was in adrenal fatigue. It does promote your respiratory health, so it's always a good thing to have on handy if there are respiratory illnesses that are going on at that time. Lobelia is another one that in combination from when I was going through this in a big way, and I realized that my adrenals were completely fatigued, and that's where I couldn't put weight on. I no matter what I did, my body was like, no. I was working in overdrive, you know what I mean? For your smoothies, yes. Geranium is also a good one. Now this was a newer one for me, but I actually, this bottle is empty now, and it is blue lotus flower, blue lotus tincture. Amazing, amazing. And this alone was like a lifesaver when I really needed it. And of course, take, do your own research. Again, no doctor or naturopath or homeopath. I'm just sharing what helped for me, what worked for me. Yeah, the blue lotus flower is amazing, amazing. It could be an aphrodisiac. I have devil's claw. Should have rooted it out for my pain yesterday. Yeah. So it's good. It's good to have these tinctures on hand, and also if you have good resources, and share what has worked for you guys too. I know there's others that I probably have already used up and forgot about, but I do know that these combinations really helped me in a big pinch. So let's get one more card for us all to wrap this up. And I want to read from the Starseed. Bought matcha but didn't enjoy the flavor. I think that they come in different flavors. If I'm maybe where I'm at, you can get them flavored. Thank you for enlightening us all. You're welcome. I just like to share what I've experienced and what I know what I've experienced and kind of drove me crazy until I got the answers, and what I've experienced that kind of caused extra pain that didn't need to. I stick a few drops of blue lotus in massage oil, relaxing. Yeah, I gotta get more of that. That was just a reminder. I need to order more of that. There was a newer, the name escapes me now. There was a newer root that I started taking when I got pneumonia. I had met a new friend who, a group of women that are foragers. They go out and hikes and stuff in nature and know all the medicinal mushrooms and plants and things. And one of the women makes her own tinctures. And she had some in her car, so she gave them out. And what she gave me was exactly what I needed, because lo and behold, a few weeks later, I ended up getting pneumonia and I needed it. I'll tell you what they were. One was dandelion, which is extremely powerful. Does not taste good. The other one, that escapes me now, the name. Usnea. 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 Very, very, that really helped wipe out the congestion, and I think that is also like an antiviral. Dandelion tea. I know. I want to research more about the dandelion. Because there's so many healing properties in that, which is funny how it's known as a weed, and that many people, at least around here, still want to spray chemicals on their lawn to keep the dandelions from growing. And we're so programmed opposite, right, from the truth. So interesting. The world we live in. But, you know, the more we know, the more we're empowered and enlightened. We don't have to fight what other people are doing. It's just like, okay, I see you. I see how this is going. I'm going to be smarter than what I'm working with here. That's interesting. So we got the Seas of Mintaka, which speaks of bringing the unconscious to the light of consciousness, and seeing potential, seeing new potential. And we got Trust the Timing. I feel like this is a very specific message for us all. Trust the wave you came in on. Time is not running out. Yes, for the bees, exactly. The first things that pop up in spring. And where I live here now, it's fall, and all of the leaves have fallen off the trees pretty much. And I'm not raking them up because, number one, the leaves become the home for the larva of what we call the firefly or the lightning bug, as well as butterflies and other insects, bees included, that are going extinct, which is sad. And I don't need to, I feel like all the leaves on my yard and everywhere are beautiful, and they're actually beautiful fertilizer for whatever leaves. So again, with the programming that we have, like, and how people think, it's interesting. I was there once too, though, so I can't really judge too much. Smash. So we're going to read this one first. The Seas of Mintaka. Mintaka is thought to have been a water-based planet containing the most crystal clear waters you could ever imagine, so clear that you could see for miles and miles underwater. The Seas of Mintaka card represents the crystalline clarity of potential and possibility. It's about the ability and choice to see the potential in all people and situations. This could be one of your natural traits, or it could be a sign that what you're currently doing has great potential. Mintakans are thought to have been a galactic race who saw the light in everything and everyone. You may have received this card as confirmation that a situation or project has extreme potential and will reach fruition. If it appears in a spread, it's a very positive sign that things are working out for the highest potential of all involved. It's a very uplifting, light-filled card that brings great harmony, contentment, and positive outcomes. According to Carl Jung, that which we do not bring to consciousness appears in our life as fate. When water appears in dreams and art, it often represents the unconscious mind. Pulling this card also means you may be called to bring to light any unconscious patterns of which you're unaware. To look at them, to see them clearly and consciously, so they don't appear in your life as fate. What unconscious patterns or behaviors are ready to be brought to the light of day? I pulled the same Trust the Timing card from the same deck earlier this morning. Yes! Beautiful synchronicity. Let's read that one next. I always love, we always second guess ourselves. Am I not doing it right? Am I doing the wrong thing? Sometimes we have to just trust in divine timing. So often, those who feel like they're here for a reason sense that time is running out, and they spend their life worrying that they might miss their moment. But the only way to miss your life or your moment is to spend your time worrying about missing it. It's never too late to answer a calling, and you're never too old. The tides of your life are magnificently orchestrated to come in and out of perfect unison. Don't race ahead and ride a wave that was never meant for you. You'll waste your precious time and energy when instead you could be enjoying your life. Everything has a season, and you're being called to trust the one that you're in. Don't let impatience, comparison, competition, or paranoia disturb the seeds. It seems that everyone has anxiety these days, constantly scanning for something they might have missed or a possible threat. Keeping our mind and body pointed in the same direction as our soul is near impossible at such reactive speeds. Right now, you're being reminded to take a breath and trust the wave you came in on, to trust the season you're in. Time isn't running out. There's plenty of time. There's no rush, and it's never too late. I love that card. Water is crystal, possibly a sign that we're moving from carbon-based life forms to crystalline beings. Definitely. Yeah. And I can feel that. We can feel that in our body sensations, in and I can feel the split in energy. Beautiful. I love sharing this time, feeling and relating to each other. We are not alone or crazy. No, we are not. We're not alone. We're not crazy. But sometimes the intensity of the energy when we are sitting with ourselves for a little too long can be like, what? I need to hear somebody else say these things. It's so helpful to know that we're not in this time alone, and we are not. For sure. But it is so nice to have community, build community, share our experiences. There is nothing too out there. There is nothing too outlandish to share. Because I know from experience that, especially when you're tapped into the fourth dimension of life, we can really have some pretty wild and crazy experiences, But we're definitely, I feel like, as I'm feeling the split, and it's not to say that other people won't catch up, but right now we have to take care of ourselves, take care of our energy, and follow where life is taking us, follow our heart, let go of that which does not go with your feelings, go with your gut. Discernment for sure. There might be people that have been in your life forever that are pulling you in their stream of pain and projecting that onto you. It is time to let go of that rope. It is just a rope, and it's not saying you're pushing someone into their own darkness. They will resurface when it is time. I'm content alone for the time being. Yeah, it actually is a nice feeling. Every now and then my FOMO kicks in, and I'm like, what's going on out there in the world? I'm like missing. I've got that Leo moon too, where it's like, where's the excitement? Where's the party at? But then when I venture out there, I'm like, oh, yeah, I need to go back home in my comfort zone for a bit. Very content in my comfort zone as well. But every so often, when I venture out into the big world of experiences, I'm pleasantly surprised by the new adventures that do await. So not to say that there aren't some amazing new experiences that we're all going to get a chance to experience. I'm not missing anything. Oh, I know. We're never missing anything. It's just that part of my brain. I have a part of that my brain that's just like, I think it's from having so many siblings and like never having the chance to be alone growing up, to having the last 5 years really taking time to be alone on purpose. It was a big it took a lot for me to really adapt and adjust to and get used to, but now I love it. Yeah. I gave so much energy and time up until last year. Mhm. Yeah, I find I don't do that very often, but I do find that when I'm presented with that I still get tested from time, my heartstrings get pulled. And it's hard. It's hard. I'm a slow coach now. My furry fam needed me. Yes. And it's always beautiful to have those our fur babies with us too. Being in a comforting presence of a friend you can trust is satisfying, extremely satisfying. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. No doubt about that. And so we have to really be grateful for that, which we have. Gratitude takes us a long way and it opens our opportunities up for so much more. So hard to find these days, though. Everybody's experience is different, and sometimes we're not quite ready to share our life experience with others yet. There could be issues with trust. There could still be inner child wounds that keep us from connecting to others. But when the time is right, just like the trust your timing card, when the time is right to meet another and form a connection, it will happen. And it's up to each and every one of us to trust that, you know, trust that we're meant to connect with certain people, sometimes for a season, sometimes for longer. There's always a reason there, and to not be afraid of that, but to really jump in with open arms, and that's important for both parties to just get in so we can experience each other as we are all connected. So I'm gonna leave this leave that leave it at that, let's just say. But I really enjoy this time and connecting with all of you. So thank you. Thank you for chiming in and sharing your experiences. Yes, trusting God, angels, and my ancestors are always driving me to the light. And that's the most important thing, because once we have that trust, we're always being guided to the light each and every present now moment. That's the other thing, to stay really present. If you don't live in love and gratitude, you live alone. Thanks for sharing your time and energy with us, Paige. That's a beautiful light. Thank you for sharing your time and energy in here as well. It's been a beautiful, nice, beautiful, energetic exchange, and I appreciate every single one of you. Sending you all out so much love, and till next time, I'll be back. Take care. Bye.